Sweet. It says I'm live. Hello. I was supposed to have my first campaign interview today. I was really excited about that, but God never called me. So I got all of this campaign prep done for an interview and no one to talk to, so I'll talk to myself. Because I was really excited to talk about the testimony of Michael Cohen coming up this week before Congress. That's going to be amazing. And the fun part, I would think, would be discussing the tax records with Donald Trump. Where are his tax returns at? Why are we sitting here waiting for him to release his tax returns when he said he'd be taking care of that after the audit was done with the IRS? I think Michael Cohen can shine some light on that. Donald Trump's off in Vietnam discussing national security, while his former lawyer is about to testify before Congress. Should be a wonderful trip. So this week they're going to discuss the debts and payments related to efforts to influence the 2016 election. 11 days before the election, a payment was made to a porn star for her silence. They'll be talking about that in Congress. The compliance with the campaign finance laws, that was never disclosed, so that would be a violation of campaign finance law. I believe that's a felony. The actual and potential conflicts of interest with the president, especially when it comes to the Trump Hotel in D.C. Apparently the Saudis have been frequenting that hotel quite a bit lately, renting out hundreds of rooms. That seems like a conflict. Yeah. Just assuming, I'm not a lawyer. That's going to be exciting. That's what I'm looking forward to. But then again, I found the testimony of James Comey before Congress to be exciting. I'm a bit of a nerd. So I was excited to talk about my campaign and what I want to do with the Electoral College. Because no one seems to be talking about that. After the election in 2000, I assumed that there would be a movement to end the Electoral College because it was obvious there was no way that we could continue without the will of the people being fully expressed through our elections. If there was a way to subvert the will of the people, it was obvious then that that's how it would happen. And it wasn't taken care of. The idea that is thrown out to argue against that well, if we got rid of the Electoral College, then elections would be decided by New York and California. Well, that's kind of what we have now. Elections are decided by Florida and Ohio. I live in Kansas, and I'm a progressive liberal. My vote never counts. The only thing that I get to vote for that actually has, that can matter is my local elections and the Senate and the House. But yeah, for president, I think it was 98-2 in some counties for John McCain over Barack Obama in Kansas. Some counties were, yeah. Luckily, I live in like one of two blue counties in Kansas, so it's a runner-up medal, I guess. Yay. The basis of my campaign is campaign finance reform. Candidates run for office today because they have an idea or a desire to do good. But if they don't raise the money to have their voice heard, it doesn't matter if their idea is good or not, because they won't be heard. Which leads to not having people in power who are looking to do good for the country, to write laws that actually matter, that can change things in this country. The running to please donors. And those donors, they don't have the same interest as the majority of the Americans, that I know, at least. More than 50% of this country lives paycheck to paycheck. My family is one of those families. During the government shutdown, I saw all those stories of people going without paychecks 2 weeks, 4 weeks. My family could probably absorb losing one paycheck, a 2-week paycheck, the two of them. Yeah, I don't think we'd be able to do that. We would have to start liquidating if it went on beyond that. And our health care is important to us now because I'm now a diabetic. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 2016. Before that, I was healthy, and I really didn't have a need to go and see a doctor. Now, my body suddenly decided not to produce insulin anymore, so I can't process sugars without help. Without insurance, that's $1,000 a month. That's a lot of money. The people in power who are playing games with healthcare simply to win elections, gambling with lives. I don't believe people are that evil. It has to be, it can only be just the corrupt influence in our system that would force someone to lie like that for that kind of a reason. It's a matter of, is it ego, I guess? To think your idea is so great, you would lie in order to get funded, in order to get reelected. I don't know. I believe that debates around issues would change if there was no need to have candidates funded through donations. If the federal government paid for all of our elections, from president all the way down, all the federal elections funded 100% by the people, taxpayer-funded elections, debates would change. It would bring out better candidates, better ideas. Ideas that actually make changes in this country that would be important. They were discussing this morning on Morning Joe, talking with Rahm Emanuel about education and what he thought was necessary, what he had accomplished. And I was shocked to think about it, what he was saying. It was just talking about basically brick and mortar and more students for more time in schools. Is that the bottom line of the problem with our education system? Is we need more education? We need more schools and more teachers? Is that the bottom line? Because that would be a very, very simple thing to do. I don't think anybody would be against that. More schools, more teachers, better pay, competitive wages that actually draw in quality people to come in and teach. If it's that simple, why haven't we done it yet? I find that shocking. Lots of simple things that haven't been done, that are used every 2 years just for political red meat, that affect people, tons of people, generations of people. It's shocking how much hasn't been done. And look at the year since the shooting in Parkland. Lots has changed. That's a great thing, but there's still no legislation that has passed yet. Why is that? Why do people feel so impassioned that these high school kids in Florida want to take your guns? No one wants to take your guns. I don't want anyone to take your guns. I don't want anyone to take my guns. It's one of the core beliefs of our founders, that was our defense in the face of tyranny. It's always been rhetorical and romanticized, the idea of the ball and musket and the Minutemen. Those kinds of things become a little bit more real in a day like today, in an age like we're in. A little closer to realizing that. It keeps us free. So no one wants to take our guns. We want to ensure that our guns are safe and used properly. Education. Yearly education should be a necessity for anyone owning a gun. Simple things like insuring gun owners, similar to like what you do with a car. My insurance covers me when I drive my car. If I do have to drive someone else's car, I'm covered on that car as well too. It carries with the gun owner, not per gun, not as long as you're licensed and up to date, then you should be able to carry as long as you're insured. I think I'm an Eagle Scout, and Boy Scouts. Hold on. In order to carry a knife, you have to have a little card called a whittling chit. It shows that anytime someone asks, you pull it out and it shows that you've followed the course and you've passed all the requirements, and you are allowed to carry a knife. If you mess up on that, and anyone sees you being unsafe with a knife, you get one of the corners cut off. And if all 4 corners are cut off, you have to take the class again. Something similar to that, something that shows that you actually are up to date on taking classes and being safe and being knowledgeable. I would think that following the example of the military, I'm sure that they have a course that they are required to take in order to be proficient. Always follow the example of the military. It seems like they are good leaders, so it's their job. They were also this morning talking in the news about Lisa Borders, the CEO of the Time's Up organization, having to resign because of sexual assault charges against her son. I find that odd. Not that she would resign. That would probably be a very tumultuous situation in a family, and that could hamper what the organization is trying to do and accomplish. But the idea that she even should have to contemplate that. Allegations should not lead to someone losing their job. Allegations being brought, charges being brought, shouldn't lead to someone losing their job either. Being accused of something should not be seen as a negative. It should be seen as what it is, an allegation. Due process. The issue with that is the intimidation of accusers coming forward and witnesses coming forward to support the accusers. The law should support anyone who comes forward. Everyone knows of someone. There's always one in the crowd. Why someone would lie and bring a false accusation, the question I would have is what happened in their life that for them to think that was something they should do. But that's why we have the rule of law. The rule of law will prevail in the end. I believe that. No matter what, we have to believe that because it is the system that we have. There's not a whole lot better than this. And if there's something wrong with it, we should change it. And that's the beauty of it. That's why it is the best here. amendable, it's fixable. Because we are human, we make errors. So we can fix the errors. I hate podcasts. I'm sorry, I have to tell you. I feel like I'm just talking to the wall because I really am. There's no conversation. I don't even think the video is getting through again. I'm just seeing a black screen on my end, so I don't even know if anyone's watching. I don't have a counter. I don't have anything. Maybe if I wasn't recording on an Apple II. From 1952. All right. So, what did I not cover yet? The Equal Rights Amendment. Seriously, Virginia? Seriously? The Equal Rights Amendment did not pass in the House of Delegates in Virginia. It failed on a 50-50 tie vote on a rules change. Yet, 81% of the people support equal rights in the state of Virginia. That's a skew of 31%. That's a lot of gerrymandering. It's a lot of corruption. Because at the bottom line is that's all it is. Why would you not want to ensure equal rights for women and girls? Because then every organization, company, every job has to pay equal for everyone. If the stats are correct, that women only make 75 cents on the dollar, every woman would have to make that extra bit of money in, and that costs money. Seems it would be a lot cheaper to pay legislators to ignore that fact. The amount of money that you can pay to purchase legislation is hundreds of millions of dollars. That sounds like a lot of money for someone like my family. We make less than $150,000 a year. 100 million sounds like insane amount of cash. But hundreds of millions of dollars compared to the profits, billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, that's a drop in the bucket. That's an amazing return on investment. Why would you not do that? And that changes when we remove the corruption from our election system. When the goal of becoming an elected official is to make change and do good things. And of course, there is always a partnership. It's a give and take. People do it because they believe it's good for them and their family as well, too. But it is no longer seen as a part of someone's career, a stepping stone into something better, or doing good in order to make change. It's seen as, who can we get into that spot to legislate to make our business more profitable? We need someone in the Senate who supports this way of thinking so we can have less regulations which will affect our bottom line. It's an obstacle to overcome. It shouldn't be that way. You remove the corruption, you have people who go to represent the people. Instead of fighting for dollars, you're fighting for votes. You're discussing issues. You're talking about things. And people decide who goes. It's elementary stuff. It's so simple. Because then all the problems start to change once you remove the corruption, because then people start to discuss, how do we solve these problems? Instead of, we need to get reelected, how can we use these issues to get reelected? Dreamers should have amnesty. Children brought here as toddlers by parents coming from other countries, toddlers have no choice over that. And these people have grown up and are now professionals, contributing members of the society, raising children, going to school, to send them back as if they were somehow foreign, but they grew up here? That's not acceptable. It's not a policy anybody should follow. Some of these people actually served in the war, service members, being deported as if they were not Americans. None of us are Americans. A small handful of us are, because they were here before all of us. The rest of us, we're all immigrants. We should always remember that fact. Wow. It can change. I am confident in that. So, I don't know if that was any good or not, but it was productive. I feel better now. We'll see. If anyone is interested in interviewing me, please contact me. I have contact information on my website, jackcharbonneau.com. Feel free to contribute to the campaign. Every little bit counts. $50 goes a long way. I can promote quite a bit with $50. Starting the conversation, that's all I'm trying to do. Thanks for watching.